Plagues are beginning to happen again. Things are happening. So Stephen Ben-Nun is with us today to help us understand what is the economic implications. If the world leaders see this happening and know there's a potential shift going to go on, what is it they're doing, Stephen, to prepare for such events?
Well, you know, Pastor Paul, I think you need to really go back and look. We know that John Moore says that from 1979, they were briefing the generals in a meeting when he saw the map the first time.
Yes.
It's somewhere around the 1983 when things started changing. They began to silence the information. They didn't want the public seeing anything about this binary system. But then let's go back in history and let's look at what happens also in the United States. From about the late 80s all the way through the 90s, we started seeing manufacturing jobs being taken out of America and moved to China. Some of them even going down to Mexico. But for the most part, manufacturing jobs moved over to China.
Yes.
Now, our products never got any cheaper, even though the purpose for moving them overseas was to save money on the cost of goods to manufacture them. I had friends of mine that actually moved their operations over there, so I know specifically people that have done this, why they did it, the cost that they saved, but that cost was never passed on to the general public. And then what we have now, while this was all going on, China began to do something that was very strange as well. They began to build ghost cities. Ghost cities. 60 Minutes did a special about this, all these ghost cities that are being built in China, but yet there's no one living there. We're talking about parks, we're talking about even churches, synagogues have been built in these as well. Shopping centers, high rises, office buildings.
And no one lives there.
No one lives there.
Interstate
Many
systems.
of them. Everything you need to function has been put there, all right?
Cities.
Exactly. Now, think of this for a moment as we look at this. I just want to kind of give a little recap right there of what happened over this time period. Now let's look at when Xi Jinping, the president of China, he begins to talk about the Silk Road Initiative, beginning the Silk Road. Now, it really did not begin with him. It was actually a Hungarian man that actually conceived this idea, but they let President Xi Jinping appear to be the man that wanted to reestablish the trade routes of the Silk Road, or the One Belt, One Road Initiative. That gained a lot of momentum, and it's already being put into place all the way to England. There's also talks about, they're building the system that goes through the Middle East, through Iran, through Syria, to the port of Haifa, for example, which, by the way, the Chinese are the ones in control of the port of Haifa now.
Yeah, which is unbelievable to think that China would control the port of Haifa in Israel. I mean, there's some things going on here.
Yes, and that's even deeper I can get into, but not today. But you get beyond that, and then you have, they talk about how that the system goes down through, even down into Africa. In the very countries that are mentioned, it's interesting, some of the countries where the Silk Road Initiative goes to, because these are countries that General Wesley Clark talked about that had to be conquered.
Okay.
And that's something of interest. But in all of this, when we look at the Silk Road, with the exception of only one organization, the LaRoche organization, and they didn't speak about it until 2016, the United States, the Northern Hemisphere, the Southern Hemisphere is never included in the Silk Road Initiative. The greatest economic infrastructure being put together
right now does not include the United States or Central and South America. We're just left off.
Left completely off.
Why in the world would that ghost cities being built in China and a Silk Road economic transportation system being built, leaving us out? Unless somebody plans on something that knows something we don't know, or has a total different global ideology that we're not aware of, and that could be debated. And President Trump, though, is doing the opposite. He's saying make America great again. He's raised, he put tariffs on China to slow down the number of factories going there so that companies are coming back to America, bringing more jobs. He's cut taxes to help fuel the economy. He's building his infrastructure up and his military up. So he's not following this plan at all. I mean, do we got two different global plans in play at the same time?
Well, Paul, I've heard you mention before that President Trump is trying to make America self-sufficient.
Yes.
And because of what we're seeing from the maps and everything, the catastrophe that would happen to this hemisphere, it may be that he's trying to make sure that there's some survivability of the nation after such a catastrophic event were to happen. And I can tell you, though, just from sources that I have in the Mossad, they have said to me that there is an event that is coming to this hemisphere here, that the elite, the politicians that have, and as I was told, that have worked with them,
Okay.
will be in underground bunkers until all the evil that happens passes. My thought has been that once it is finished, because I've told this will be in a really bad situation here, they're going to take those elite, those politicians, their families, etc., and they will actually fill the ghost cities of China and also those in Africa.
I mean, this is just incredible information to hear, and it has to be mind-boggling to the viewers and myself and anyone else out there